What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my Plumeria Mythic banner review video. This banner is coming out tomorrow. So Plumeria is our newest mythic unit and she's an Astra mythic unit and she provides you with a speed buff. And I'm honestly really excited because I do play Aether Raids quite a bit and Astra Season is synonymous with suffering because Naga just doesn't provide that much support. She just provides Divine Fang and Altina also doesn't provide any kind of support. Sure, she can like sometimes Vantage Sweep, but like the support is just not present in the Astra Mythics compared to the Light Mythics until now. But now we have got Plumeria who provides absolutely amazing support and completely blows Naga and Altina out of the water when it comes to supporting allies. She's a dancer and a mythic unit and that is just really good because it provides you a lot of flexibility on your Aether Raids offense teams because she could just be there as a mythic and also do the role of being a dancer, so that just opens up another slot in your team, which is absolutely amazing. And that was one of the problems with Astra Season. Like in the Light Season we have got Peony, Air, both of them are fantastic units, and then in the Astra Season we have got Naga and Altina who don't really do much for the support. So she's a flying red mage and being a ranged dancer is pretty nice because she can break structures and stuff. Of course she's gonna get oppressed by Tactics Room, but being a ranged dancer is really amazing. So she has got Flower of Plenty and this is a 14 might weapon, gives her +3 resistance, which is really good for her Sabotage skill. And she can provide the allies within 5 rows and 3 columns centered on Plumeria with +3 attack and resistance. Now this is not really as good as Peony's because she could just give that attack and speed buff in the cardinal direction, but still this is quite good in my opinion. And there's another perspective to this, like if you're replacing Altina with Plumeria on your team as a mythic, then you know Altina provides that +3 attack, and here Plumeria can anyways just provide that +3 attack buff from her weapon. So that just goes to show you how good Plumeria is overall in supporting your allies, and giving extra resistance to your allies is just super needed because mostly units which you're going to be facing in Aether Raids are going to be range units and they're going to be mages a lot of times, so resistance really helps a ton. And her assist skill is Sweet Dreams. It's a exclusive dance skill that she's got, and this definitely sets her apart compared to the other dancers who just have generic dance or sing skill because she can provide more support with this skill. So this is just a dance skill and this can provide +3 to all of the stats of the target ally. Once again, the difference between her and Peony is that Peony can buff up entire cardinal directions with Gentle Dream, but Plumeria's dance is only going to be giving buffs to the target ally, and it also inflicts -4 debuff to the nearest foes within 4 spaces of the target ally through their next actions. So the debuff is really amazing to provide more support, and debuffs are going to be pretty nice for weapons that work on debuffs like Broadleaf Fan or Spy's Dagger. Those weapons are going to be really powerful with Plumeria's dance, so her support capabilities are quite good and definitely much better than whatever we had in Astra Season before this. Now, I think that Peony is still the best mythic unit in the game because Peony's Gentle Dream provides that like orders buff basically, which does so much for your movement. Plumeria does not really provide you with that kind of support, and Peony can just buff up the like entire cardinal direction, but still like Plumeria is really good for Astra Season. Just being a dancer alone like makes her such a good support unit, and on top of that her weapon assist skill just make it a bit better. Her base kit is like not support oriented, but it can get the job done I guess. So she's got attack res push 4, sabotage speed, and attack res rain. So attack res push is going to be giving her a lot of attack and resistance, and that is actually going to be coming into the play because I did calculate this, and as you can see on the left side I have my stat speculation. It's based on the story mode. We know Plumeria is slow, we know what her stat growths are, so it's an educated guess, and she's going to be having like 150 or 151 BST. So that's my stat speculation, which you see on left. Now I did calculate against Thracier. Against Lomer's Thraciers with Flashing Blade and Moonbow, Plumeria can easily survive her with attack res push active, and then just kill her on retaliation with something like a 2-turn special like Glimmer. If Thracier had killing intent active, which is going to be active a lot of times. So yeah, Plumeria can definitely take on Thracier as far as what I've calculated, and I've been generally on the lower side of resistance. She could have more resistance actually than this, even reaching 40 resistance, so that is gonna be better. So attack res push is pretty nice for that. She's got sabotage speed, which is quite interesting because she is not very fast, but she provides the speed support with her buffs and also sabotage speed. So sabotage skills are good for support, but keep in mind it is gonna be triggering restore traps, which are pretty popular. So in case you don't want to face that, you could just replace this with other skill. Attack res rain is also good, but isn't the best support skill. You could definitely run other buffing skills. And if you want to fodder off Plumeria, then you could fodder her for attack res push and attack res rain at the same time, or the sabotage skill. Attack res rain is mainly going to be useful on slow mage flyers or someone like Mer maybe. Mer definitely appreciates attack res rain a lot. So overall, I'm really happy that we got a good Astra Mythic finally. And her dance basically gives like a 7 stat differential if you combine the buffs and debuffs. So that is pretty amazing. And it opens up just so many options. You can run Gale Force teams better in Astra Season now. You can run hit and run teams with the Cavalier much better. You could run it with Layla as well for hit and run. And even tanking gets better because Flower of Plenty does provide you with the resistance buff, and because Plumeria provides you with the speed, it is definitely pretty nice for Spurn, Close Call, or Repel tanks for damage reduction builds. So those kinds of tanks really appreciate extra speed from Plumeria. And it can also help you prevent double from Thracier, and Thracier's main threatening part comes from killing intent and the fact that she can get so fast. So getting more speed on her units through Plumeria's Blessing is going to be really good. And it also makes triple mythic team compositions much better because she's going to be covering the dancer role. So even in the higher echelons of ether raids, it is going to be much appreciated. And just in general, if you want to run a triple mythic team for more stats, she can definitely cover the dancer role. So Plumeria overall is just very solid, and I think many people are going to be enjoying using her. And we have been waiting for a good Astra Mythic for like a year now almost. So it's really amazing that we finally got her. And the consequence of this is probably going to be the fact that anima defenses are going to get harder to get wins on due to Plumeria because she provides the dance support. Previously, you know, most players were handicapped because of Naga and Altina since they couldn't provide any kind of support. But Plumeria is a dancer. But still, Plumeria isn't really as crazy as Peony, and she's not really free as Peony as well. So we'll have to see how the meta changes because of Plumeria. Maybe, you know, defense teams might start using units like Bronya or Fallen Ike, or just utilizing Unity skills more to just get powered up by her debuffs. That could be something. Now, I've been talking about ether raids for quite a while now, mainly because she's an Astra Mythic unit, but even if you don't really care about ether raids, she's still a pretty decent dancer, providing you with good support. And an extra dancer is not really too bad, especially a dancer who has got a unique dance skill. So might be useful even to the people who don't really care about ether raids too much. But I'm not really too sure if this banner is going to be the right one for you to go for her, because I think she might get rerun in December probably. And in that banner, you're going to be getting more color value because Peony is present in the blue pool and Bramimond is also present. So for the people who don't really care too much about ether raids right now, they could wait, I guess, for a better banner. But even right now, the red pool is pretty decent with Lif and Selif, providing you with excellent fodder. And now let's take a look at some of the build options that you could do on Plumeria. So I would really suggest having something like Glimmer or Moonbow. A 2-turn special is going to be very good, and Plumeria does have good attack. I think she's going to be having good attack, so Glimmer isn't really the worst option. What that allows you to do is basically tank 2 hits from Thracier and then just one-shot her with your 2-turn special. So 2-turn specials are definitely pretty nice on Plumeria, and if you want to use her resistance for damage output, then Iceberg is of course going to be pretty nice. Now, attack res push is going to be nice, but you could also have other options if you want to utilize her support much better. Fury is going to be pretty good to make sure that she can trigger her sabotage speed much better. And Triangle Adept is also a really good budget option because it gives her better matchup against Thracier. And she can even tank like pre-charged special Thraciers if they are low merged with Triangle Adept. So Triangle Adept is going to be really useful in that regard. And of course, Fortress Resistance and Fortress Defense Res is also options if you want to use sabotage skills in slot B. Now, Wings of Mercy is absolutely the best slot B for any kind of dancer really, so that could be run. And if you're using like 2 Plumerias with like a tank, then Sabotage Attack could be run on one of those Plumerias, so that's an option too. And Flyer Formation is also an option if you are using like a full flyer team basically. For slot C, you just want to run any kind of support skill like Tactics or Drive skills, or even Hone Attack 4 if you cannot really utilize Tactics that better, because the other mythics are also flying units, so if you want to buff up those units, Hone Attack 4 is probably decent, I guess. And for seals, you just want to run mobility skills like Aerobatics, Flyer Formation, Guidance, or Flyer Guidance, and you could run double tactics like Attack and Speed Tactic, or Defense or Res Tactic. And Distant Guard is also a pretty decent option because you're going to be facing a lot of range units. So these are the build options for Plumeria, because her base kit definitely needs a bit of tweaking if you want to use her extensively, I believe. So I'm really happy about this actually, pretty excited to pull for her. And now let's take a look at the other units from this banner. Legendary Ephraim is also quite outdated like Legendary Lucina when it comes to scoring in Arena, and I want to actually give him negative points for his fodder. It's just so underwhelming. But Legendary Ephraim does have Flame Siegmund, which does give him auto double, which is really good for Gale Force build by running Heavy Blade on Slotty and by running Quick Gun Pulse as a Sacred Seal. So that is a niche which he still has. But other than that, he doesn't really have too much going on for him. He has really piss poor resistance. He's gonna get doubled by a lot of things. So he is definitely not aging that well. And his preferred skill, Solar Brace, doesn't really help him too much in that longevity aspect, because many other units can just do it much better than him when it comes to being a tank who can have self-sufficient healing. Legendary Lucina is not really as dominant as her father, Legendary Chrom, but still she is quite decent. Future Vision is still really good in 2020, and she can have enough speed to double even a lot of the newer units, so she's still pretty decent. However, she scores really poorly in Arena because she doesn't really have the dual effect, and she has got really piss poor fodder. All of these skills can be obtained from units in the Grail shop or the 3-star, 4-star pool, so a lot of times getting more copies of her is not really going to be doing you any kind of favors. Duma is an Anima mythic unit, and he's also known as the Catapult Man, so he can basically act as a max level catapult because of upheaval, and that's his main niche in Aether Raid's defense, because you could have him with a fully upgraded catapult in lane 3 or lane 4, and then have him in the corresponding lane 3 or 4. So basically you're covering lane 3 and 4 in Aether Raid's defense, and that is usually the spot where a lot of people put their bolt towers, and without bolt towers you're going to be stopping a lot of strategies, and that can really help you not get your frontline unit taken out. So bolt tower is a pretty big thing in offense, so Duma can just destroy those bolt towers along with the catapult, so he's really useful with that. And he does pack a punch. You could usually run him with like a Wings of Mercy or just something like that, that could increase his movement, like a Ground Order's ally, like maybe Mirabilis. You could have that on her, and he does pack a punch, so that is pretty good. But outside of that, he has really low mobility, and of course everyone is going to be using Naga, who can provide Divine Fang buff, so more units are going to be able to just one-shot him despite his bulk. So that is going to be a weakness that he has, but his main job is basically to destroy bolt towers and enemy structures basically. And as for fodder, he's just got Defense Res Solo and Bolt Fighter. Decent Res Solo isn't the best slotted skill, and Bolt Fighter is present on so many armor units, so it's not really too valuable in my eyes. Yune is a dark mythic unit, and she's an alright defense mythic actually, but she's really bad at low merges because she's a super frail, she's quite slow, she's gonna get doubled by anything, and she's gonna die pretty easily because she doesn't have the best HP. But if you want to get better results from her, then you at least want to have Ground Orders on her, so that she can provide that kind of support to your allies in Aether Raid's defense. And you definitely want to have like Sturdy Impact as her slotted skill if you could afford that, because that is going to be really improving her longevity and the things that she could do, and that just makes her more threatening with that impact skill. But if those things are not present, then Yune is usually not really that big of a threat. Now, Phantom Resistance Sacred Seal is a thing, so that does make Chaos Named more viable in Aether Raid's defense, so that's a new tool that she's got going for her. but it has to be an opportunity cost at times because a lot of times Yune's will run aerobatics or something like that to jump to an ally for the unpredictability. Outside of Aether Raid's defense, she's a alright unit. You will definitely have to run Desperation on her slot B so that she could do things, and the auto follow-up attack which you could get out of Chaos Manifest is of course gonna be really nice. Brave Micaiah is a really strong unit and she provides pretty good utility because she has got a cavalry effective and armor effective weapon, and it also has an effect similar to Syzo's Star where she can basically copy the debuffs that the enemy has got but take advantage of it instead. So I basically use her a lot in Aether Raids to completely wipe off cav lines. She's really useful there. She's really amazing with her high resistance and attack, but she is very frail with that low HP and really low defense, and she's gonna get doubled by a lot of things. But she can provide pretty nice support with Yune's Whispers as well. It's like a mix of sabotage, attack, and speed into one. And for fodder, she provides you with ground orders and attack respawn 4. But attack respawn, in my opinion, isn't really all that good when we're gonna be getting attack res Unity. I think Unity skills are just much better than tier 4 bond skills personally. But ground orders is a really good support skill on any kind of flying unit to make sure that their allies could have much better movement, and this does have application in Aether Raid's defense as well. So overall, it's still a pretty nice unit and good fodder. Legendary Leaf is absolutely insane unit, one of the best archers in the entire game. Niran Zeal is just so powerful, it gives him Gale Force essentially, and that is just so useful for hit and run strategies or even just for taking out multiple units in the same turn. And his base attack is also really good, and he's overall a very strong unit. He is quite min-max, so he can actually take hits a lot of times, even though he's gonna get doubled majority of the times, but he can definitely take hits here and there. And he's a force to be reckoned with in any mode in the game. He's just that strong. And he does provide you with attack res push as the fodder, which is not really all that good, I guess, because a lot of times you're probably going to be giving this to some kind of mage who is not really that fast. And in that case, you could run some other slotted skill on them, which doesn't really chip down their HP. So it's definitely not really as universally useful as something like attack speed push, for example. So he's a very powerful unit. Even like a one copy of him is gonna be insanely powerful, and he can carry you just as an unmerged unit really, and he provides you with decent fodder. Legendary Celica is an insanely good mage and definitely one of the best mages in the entire game. Her preferred skill, Soul of Zofia, is really good, and it's much better now more than ever because it has null follow-up and desperation built into it. So null follow-up is really good when, you know, every other unit has got some kind of auto double effect or some kind of effect that prevents follow-up attacks. I'm looking at you, Brave Hector. But yeah, she is gonna be an amazing Brave Hector counter. Brave Hector has come back into the meta with that insane Malted Refine, and Legendary Celica is one of the best units to get rid of him because of that null follow-up effect and the fact that she's got weapon strangle advantage. And just in general, she's a very powerful unit because she's got 38 base attack and 38 speed. And her weapon is basically a resistance variant of Alm's bow. And she also provides pretty good fodder. You could inherit Swift Sparrow 3 and attack speed Oath at the same time if you fodder off like an Asala or something for Swift Sparrow 2. So overall, she's really good unit in this green pool. Lif is an Anima mythic unit and he can reduce the lift loss in Aether Raid's defense. And I've used him extensively for months, and without a doubt I could say that Lif is one of the more underwhelming Aether Raid's defense mythics that we have got. The thing about him is that he's just too squishy as a frontliner, and he could be used in the backline too, but he doesn't really have range. He's a melee unit, and you know, we have got Mirabilis, who's an insane dancer. We have got Duma, who's a catapult man, can destroy bolt towers. We've got Thrasir with killing intent and dragon effectiveness, and she's a range unit. Compared to them, Lif is just too honest of a unit in Aether Raid's defense, so I don't think you should really use him. You should definitely go for Thrasir or Mirabilis if you want to use Aether Raid's defense mythics. But outside of Aether Raid's defense, Lif is really good. He has got really high attack, his weapon gives him auto double, which is amazing, and his preferred skill can give him more firepower, and he can retaliate back with Open the Future along with the Time Pulse that could bring it to 2 cooldown. And as for fodder, he provides distant counter and time pulse, and that is just so good if you're inheriting this to an infantry unit. Time pulse is also a really good skill. But the thing is that usually Time Pulse is used on Gale Force units and nukes and stuff like that, and Distant Counter is an enemy phase skill, so might be a bit of a problem with that, but still both of these are really good skills that you could get from him at the same time. Lilith is a flying blue dragon, and dragons have it pretty tough nowadays because of the abundance of the dragon effective weapons that we have got, and flying dragons don't really have access to a lot of skills. She has got a new tool in Dive Bomb from Pirate Tibarn that she could utilize, I guess. So that's that, and I guess the rain skill would be nice too, but a lot of the really good skills are usually not present for flying dragons especially. Lilith can be really effective with the support partner because she could just swoop in across the map, and she has got a lot of stats with her Astral Breath combined, and she can be pretty decently tanky, and she's just incredibly fast. However, she is pretty weak to dragon effective and flyer effective weapons, so that is something that you have to watch out for. And she cannot really take on too many nukes alone, because while she could have decent bulk, she is not insanely tanky. She still has HP on the lower side for a tank. And as for her fodder, Joint Drive attack is absolutely insane. Not only it's a 300 SP skill, which is useful in Colosseum modes, but in general, this is such a good support skill because you provide yourself with +4 attack as well as the allies. So really insane skill that she has got access to, and this just carries her when it comes to fodder, honestly. Legendary Seliph is one of the more tame legendary units that we have got. He doesn't really have any crazy skills and he isn't really too overpowered. He's rather balanced and he's mainly an enemy phase unit. His weapon gives him healing per hit, which is amazing for his longevity, and his preferred Slobby skill basically increases his survivability by a lot because he's just so slow he's gonna get doubled a lot. However, with this skill he can make a guaranteed follow-up attack before he gets doubled by the foe, and his high attack can really help him secure a lot of kills. He is pretty good for arena scoring in the Earth season as an Earth legendary, but he doesn't really have any kind of player phase utility. Null follow-up is just gonna negate his Slotby skill, and he's really easy to bait out and just straight up kill, so he will lack in those areas. And generally speaking, cavalry units a lot of times are not the best tanks out there because they don't have access to a lot of really good defensive skills, and BST penalty is also there. But still, Legendary Seliph is definitely one of the best cavalry tanks that we have got because of his mixed bulk and how min-maxed he is, and Virtuous Tearfang can give him even more bulk with its in-combat debuff and just give him more firepower. But still, Legendary Seliph is quite balanced overall. As for fodder, he provides Distant Counter and Joint Tone defense at the same time. This is really amazing for a lot of Colosseum game modes which require scoring aspect. So you could have two 300 SP skills at the same time inherited from him, and that is just really good. Julian is a very powerful dagger unit that we've got in recent times, and even as a low merged or unmerged, Julian can pretty much outperform many of the Gen 1 dagger units, even if those Gen 1 dagger units are +10 merged. So it's no surprise, but it just goes to show, how powerful Julian can be at base. He has got a high attack stat of 38 and also 38 speed, so it's really good offensive stat spread. But even better is his fodder potential. You could fodder him off for close foil and low attack speed at the same time, and both of these skills are really good. You could also inherit Caltroop Dagger and close foil at the same time, but usually not a lot of dagger units can make full use of that, but close foil and low attack speed together are just absolutely amazing. Close foil, generally speaking, is going to be better than close counter because you can get more stats out of it, and you're only missing out on not being able to counter-attack dragon units, which is not really that big of a deal in this meta, honestly. And low attack speed, we all know, is a really solid skill. Overall, this banner is pretty decent actually, and Red Pool is definitely the best one because even if you don't get Plumeria, you're getting Lif and Seliph who have excellent fodder. And Colorless Pool is also pretty decent because Legendary Leaf is a really good unit if you haven't already got him. And Julian provides pretty excellent fodder as well. Blue is probably the weakest color on this banner because of Ephraim and Lucina, as they don't really provide any kind of good fodder. So if you want to pull for Plumeria and if you really care about Ether Raids, Astra season, then this is definitely the banner you should go for. But if you can wait and you're not really having any kind of trouble in the Astra season, then I guess you could wait for her rerun, which, like I said, is probably going to be happening around like December if I'm guessing. So that is going to be my review. Make sure to share this video with your friends who are looking forward to Plumeria. And I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support. It really means a lot. And please be sure to like and comment. It helps me tremendously. And be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as slow as Plumeria. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.